Day 2 of the Cleveland Brown OTA session is officially in the books. And day 2 was actually a lot different from day 1, just regarding Deshaun Watson and where he is at rehabbing that shoulder. Now, obviously in day 1, he was good enough to throw the ball and pretty much took part of the entire practice when it comes to throwing the football. But day 2 is a little bit different. He did work, but he didn't throw, right? Now, it is going to build up here as we start to see him, get better, reacclimate that shoulder to throwing every single day, but he is taking his time, getting back into the swing of things here, and the good news is we're still a couple of weeks away from mandatory minicamp and a couple of months away from the start of training camp. Now, in this video, we're going to break down everything that you need to know about what's happening over here in Cleveland with the Browns OTA session, but more importantly, who are a couple of guys who are standing out, but also who you guys need to keep an eye on going forward. Before we jump into that though, comment down below who are you most excited to see on this team going into OTAs and mandatory minicamp, training camp, whether it's a rookie like Jamari Thrash or it's a newcomer like Jerry Jeudy, a second-year player in Elijah Moore with the Cleveland Browns, or is it a guy like Nick Chubb coming back from his injury, or Nyheim Hines, who are you most excited to see? Comment down below. But with that being said, let's jump into the video. Now, one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to with this new look, Cleveland Brown team is kind of the linebacker core. Obviously, you still got the Joker, you still got JOK, but you add Devin Bush. You bring in a guy like Jordan Hicks, and you still have guys who are trying to develop in Tony Fields II. But man, this is a brand new kind of looking inside linebacker core here, especially with Devin Bush, a guy who, flashed a couple of years ago with, the Pittsburgh Steelers, then moved on to Seattle, wasn't really too productive there. But the dude has potential, right? And the best way to get the most out of these players is putting them in really good situations. Guys, the Cleveland Browns have been one of the best defenses in football over the past couple of seasons, and they're coming off a year where they were insane, right? Now, they weren't great in terms of stopping the run, and also, their offense wasn't good as well, which kind of forced their defense to not play as good as they were. But for the majority of the season, this was one of the best pass defenses in football. They were fast, they knew how to cover, they knew how to read and react to the quarterback and force them to change their reads, right, the progressions. At the end of the day, though, if they're able to stop the run a little bit more, maybe stop turning over the ball so much, this is going to be one of the best all-around teams in football next season. And I think Devin Bush, if he hits any sort of stride, hits any sort of that potential that he has, this is going to be, again, one of the best defenses in football, right? You already have probably the best D-line in football with Zadarius Smith, Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, and then you've got a guy like Mo Hurst. I mean, Mo Hurst is probably one of the most underrated players in football, especially at the defensive tackle position. He's good. You have a third-round pick in Siaki Ika. You draft Michael Hall in the second round. I mean, dude, this D-line is going to be tremendous. But I really want to talk a little bit about what we're looking at offensively, right? You add a Jerry Jeudy, you still have Deshaun Watson, who's really trying to take that next leap up, get back to the football he was playing back in Houston the first couple of seasons when he looks really, really good, right? And now that they're getting fully healthy, I think this is going to be the season we see a ton out of the Cleveland Browns, right? Before we get any further in the video, before I break down a couple of things that you need to be looking out for over the next few days of OTAs, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, turn on post notifications. Guys, it's free, it doesn't cost anything, and we're going to be covering the Browns through it all, right? I did miss part 1 or day 1 yesterday, but don't worry, later tonight I'm going to drop a whole nother video, or maybe tomorrow I'll drop it, the part 1 or part 2, whatever you want to call it, for day 1 highlights and news and notes. I'll drop that tomorrow or later today. Let me know in the comments when you guys want it. So join the family, subscribe, it's free, doesn't cost anything. With that being said, let's jump right back in the video. Sorry if you can hear my dog. He's kind of annoying. But the number one thing that we need to see is Deshaun Watson, right? Obviously today, not throwing. He is going through some side work in terms of some ladder drills, some footwork drills. But overall, Deshaun Watson is just getting ready, getting back into the swing of things. I'm really going to be interested to see his progression over the next few weeks as he continues to build more chemistry with not only Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore, but Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, Jamari Thrash, Cedric Tillman, David Bell, right? A lot of these guys have a lot of work to do in terms of building this chemistry and making sure that the connection projection day one is really, really good and better than it was last season, right? Another thing I'm, looking forward to is the progression of, some injured players, right? Nick Chubb, Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills, DeJuan Jones, right? And then quarterback DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who are guys who, had season-ending injuries. Now that they're getting healthy, I'm getting ready to see how those guys can play on day one. I want to see how Ken Dorsey's offense, how it, is going to be utilized here. They hired him to replace Alex Van Pelt. So I definitely want to see what he does. Now, Ken Dorsey's a guy who is very good with quarterbacks, similar to guys like Deshaun Watson, Cam Newton, Josh Allen, right? He does a really good job with these type of quarterbacks. I want to see how he shapes up Deshaun Watson for this season. I think it could be a really big piece of what the Browns are trying to do. How is Jerry Jeudy going to impact this team, right? Is he the number 2 wide receiver right off the bat? You still have Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper. They have really good receiving core. In my opinion, this could be a top 3 wide receiver room in the NFL, depending on how Jerry Jeudy comes in here. Again, has not been great throughout his career in Denver, but again, we knew coming into the draft, this dude was going to be a beast in the NFL. Hasn't really looked like that yet, but maybe Deshaun Watson opens it up a little bit. And the last thing I'm really looking for is how the rookies progress, right? Michael Hall Jr., obviously, he's not going to be asked to be a day one starter, but this is a perfect situation for him, right? He can come in and learn from guys like Dalvin Thompson, who is a seasoned veteran, Shelby Harris, a seasoned veteran, Quentin Jefferson, right? Maurice Hurst. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. Mike Hall is going to be able to soak up a ton of information. Him and Siaki Ika, right? These guys are going to be able to come in here and just soak up information for the next couple of years. And when it's their turn, they're going to be really good as well. So I'm definitely so excited to see how, these guys play over the next few weeks, how they continue to develop. But when you look at this roster right now for the Browns, they're one of the most underrated teams in football. They have a great roster. They got great, depth at certain positions, at the wide receiver position, at the tight end position, with Njoku and Jordan Akins. You got Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Nyheim Hines, Deontay Foreman, right? I think I love what they've done to the running back room, the quarterback room, even adding Jameis Winston as a backup quarterback just in case Watson misses time. I think everywhere you look in this team, they're deep, they're hungry, and they know that they can win football games. And their defense has been nasty as well. I am just excited to see how they continue to progress over the next few weeks here as we lead into the start of mandatory minicamp. And once the pads come on, this is when we'll start to see, who's really putting the work, who's really stepping up, and that's probably what I'm most excited to see. So let me know what you guys are most excited to see. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, turn on post notifications. That way you're notified every time we post a video. Again, we're gonna have another part of this coming out later today or tomorrow, so make sure you guys join the family for that. And there will be a lot more news, notes, highlights, takeaways as well. So again, everything's slowly paced right now. Once things ramp up, we're going to really get the deep dive into some guys. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next Browns update. Peace.